When life survives unimaginable catastrophes, it does not only take away roofs and walls, it tears apart the dreams, love, and stories that add breathe into life and makes these structures a home. Devastating and horrendous, the LA wildfires of 2025 were not just a tragedy from a natural disaster perspective, but something much deeper. For the many lives these fires touched, the famed stars paid the cost the material possessions they esteemed greatly. Alongside the flames derives family treasures and unique links to each individual's past. These were much more than ordinary buildings. They served as tokens of love, laughter, deep-rooted feelings, immense hard work, and innumerable joyful moments. They stood strong as reminders of what was achieved. The loss is something that is difficult to grasp. Each story serves as a painful reminder on how delicate life is and how within moments everything can be taken away. But the LA wildfires also shed light on the remarkable strength of mankind, the ability to cherish the memories of what would always be a part of one's life. Even when everything else turns to ashes, hope always takes a form. The countless treasures, priceless bones, and haunting legacies are difficult to replace. But what remains is the ability to feel strong. Number 1. Mel Gibson. The actor's Malibu mansion was a surmounting $15 million, and it served as a cohesive piece of art, along with showcasing Gibson's life's work. The home was not just a luxurious estate alongside the ocean, but a sanctuary, a personal retreat cabin, well deserving of his title, The Walking Unrest. The property was filled with barely attainable interiors, such as art pieces next to books from the 1600s, making the mansion a rare place. Nevertheless, there was a calamity while Gibson was away recording a podcast. Everything was reduced to ashes, and the wildfire left nothing but anguish in its wake. As he was reflecting on the destruction, Gibson regretfully commented, "It was more than just a house. It was an embodiment of my essence. I fashioned and nurtured it with passion into a space that was a home, a sanctuary rooted deep within me. I lost a piece of my heart." While the property was insured, Gibson pointed out that the truth still somehow eluded them. No insurance policy would cover the true loss. What is the worth of oneself or some ancient relics, a cherished abode where everyone laughed and cried? He inquired, shaking. They might put a price on the financial compensation, but the emotional and historic significance of what was lost cannot be measured in a framework. Number 2. Paris Hilton. Her beach house in Malibu, amounting $8 million, was much more for a simple getaway for a rich like Paris Hilton. It was a family heirloom, one that was filled with love, laughter, and warmth from many generations. For her, the house was a source of comfort during the after her breathtaking yet troubling public life. From the moment fire broke out, she could sense that everything was about to change. When Hilton's cherished house went up in flames, it wasn't simply the house that Hilton was set on fire within. It was her very reality. Childhood pictures, family heirlooms, and everything else that was deeply valued were all housed in the property. In a heartfelt admission, Hilton let us know, "My family and I used to hold our best celebrations there. That's why every inch of the house had a special place in my heart. Everything turning to soot is something irreplaceable." Hilton possessed insurance for the house, however, put forth reasons as to why the money wouldn't serve its purpose. Everyone treasures getting a little money, but what good are those memories? You could never buy a home with that amount. Everything she possessed still could not bring her any joy. Even the most fetching lives bear saddening stories, reminding people how loss is a part of life we all must deal with. Number 3. Billy Crystal. Billy Crystal's Pacific Palisades estate, worth an estimated $10 million, was central to his family's existence. This house served as their primary residence for over 4 decades and brought together his family for joy and celebration, as well as marking important milestones. Family dinners, holiday gatherings, and everything else in between were firmly planted in the home's memories. The retreating wildfire left Crystal to deal with an untold devastation of loss. He recollected this tragedy by saying, "This house wasn't just where we lived. It was where we truly loved. My kids took their first steps here. We sang happy birthday year after year. I built a life with my wife in this house. Those memories are imprinted into my heart, but not seeing the walls that held them, it's heartbreaking." Although the property did have insurance, Crystal stated that the financial cushion could not compensate for the catastrophe he endured. "Yes, you can rebuild walls, but you can't replace 40 years of memories. You can't recreate the feeling of coming home to a house that has seen the best as well as the worst days of your life, but has always been there for all of it," he said, his voice soaked with sadness. Number 4. Jeff Bridges. For Jeff Bridges, that was like the knife hit the core of his family's legacy. The family-owned coastal residence that they cherished all their lives is more than a multi-million-dollar asset. The ancestral Bridges family house was filled with items such as heirlooms, pictures, and other mementos that served as a collage of the family's historical journey spanning several decades, and as such, it is considered a treasure. At the very deep level, Bridges wasn't feeling grief. It is more profound than that. This wasn't just a house. It was a piece of my family's soul, a place where every corner told a story of love, laughter, and family, is what Bridges himself has to say on the subject. The property's insurance covers these damages, however. Bridges emphasizes that the loss is indeed irreparable. In his eyes, that is perhaps the biggest tragedy. Houses can always be rebuilt, but the heart within it? Never. This is loss uncomprehensive in nature, he quoth, unable to bring himself to speak, period. Number 5. Ricki Lake. Ricki Lake's dream home located in Malibu, which has recently gone ablaze, was an embodiment of joy for her. Even so, she recently purchased the house for $9 million. It was only 3 years ago when she moved in with her husband, and they often referred to the house as their heaven. Lake was left heartbroken after the incident. This wasn't just a home. This was where dreams were forged and love was shared. We set out to create a life and future together. Losing this place is akin to losing a part of our beings, she stated prior to her emotional breakdown. Even though Lake possessed an insurance, she stated that the emotional loss was beyond repair. Lake stated that, "You cannot put a price on the memories, moments, and the life that was lived in that house," when asked for a comment on the tragic event. Number 6. Anthony Hopkins. The great Anthony Hopkins also lost his residence located Palisades, which was estimated to cost around $15 million. As a thoughtful and introspective man, this tragedy seems to be appalling. But still, Hopkins had a message reflecting upon this slaughter. In a public message, he stated that houses can be rebuilt, but the kindness and love shared is so much more important. Even though his property was insured, he concentrated rather on the emotional impact that losing such a comforting and inspirational place would have rather than on the materialistic loss which is common. He served to remind me the things that are dear, yet make someone's life meaningful. Number 7. Mandy Moore. Mandy Moore's home, located in Altadena, which had a net worth of $4.5 million, lost some portions of the property which lead to its destruction. The singer and actress resorted to social media to share her despair, although she posted such terrifying pictures of the destruction. Moore also said, "My residence was a safe haven for me, and losing it feels like losing parts of myself, as everything from memories, journals, and photos were destroyed within the fire. I still won't be able to recover from the emotional bankruptcy that the ordeal has put me through, even though everything was insured." These were her sentiments, which were shared by fans in the open space topic of his interview. Number 8. Milo Ventimiglia. Now let us turn our attention to Milo Ventimiglia, who has made a name for himself in the film industry. Murtosh Best claimed as regards his private nature that so far, there has been no official statement made in regard to the full loss of his apartment in Los Angeles, estimated at over $6 million. Nothing was left after the fire completely destroyed the house. However, privately sources shared that the emotional impact of the loss was significant. The dwelling is known to have been his hideout, and where he would go to take a break from everything. It is important to note that regardless of whether the house was insured or not. Number 9. Spencer Pratt and Heidi Montag. The well-known couple from reality TV, Spencer Pratt and Heidi Montag, to say the least, went through a heartbreak that is beyond describing. The family house was a former site of love and togetherness, was mercilessly devoured by the unlawful fires. This wasn't just a structure made of planks and mortar, it was their oasis. The couple and their children crafted a simple life together in this home, which was abandoned ever since they lost it. This house was a stunning piece of architecture estimated to be worth around $3 million. This house also served as a ceremonial centerpiece for the family. This dwelling remains etched in my head because it is beautiful in its own voiceless way. The reality TV couple Spencer Pratt and Heidi Montag have gone to say that losing this home left a void that can never be filled. They have been open on the losing their family homemaking window. Such losses like these cannot be put into monetary terms. This tragic loss will serve as a sad piece of history, forever pierced in their hearts. Number 10. Miles Teller. Actor Miles Teller lost so much more than material possessions as the wildfires demolished his house in Los Angeles. They took along precious memories which he holds dearly. The property, valued at an estimated $2.5 million, was more than just a luxury residence. It stood for fulfillment and personal joy. However, even with everything turned to ashes, Teller was able to find appreciation in all of it. During conversation, Teller was able to paint this beauty amidst the bleak surrounding. Family is everything, and while it was devastating for him to lose valuables, his family's safety helped him focus on what's more important. Teller's narrations strike an extensive chord, especially during times of misfortune. He had the positivity to pick himself up and tell the world there's light even in the deepest darkness. As life continues forward, his story reminds us to acknowledge perspective. He encourages us to shift our gaze toward the broad reality where when something is taken, be open-minded to everything that could be gifted in return. Teller's journey reveals an unbelievable truth. The loss of these homes is not only of devastating proportions, but one that reaches far and beyond financial outcomes. The reported estimated economic loss of $250 billion, along with over 12,300 buildings reduced to rubble, may come as shocking to many. But the true losses come in the form of cherished family memorabilia wiped away and the after-effects which will stain these people forever. These people saw these homes as more than just buildings. These structures were dream facilitators, love forgers, and above all, every little detail had a story behind it, making it so much more special than it already was. The emotional and psychological damage is beyond measure. Families now scavenge through the ruins, wrapped in dreams of the future, yet yearning to find pieces of their past. The trauma of witnessing deeply treasured assets and priceless gifts obliterate in seconds is a feeling that is hard to shake and can take years to heal. This painfully consolidates the reality that assets may be replaced, but the life fragments within them cannot be. The 2025 Los Angeles fires indeed are a Mars for the reality of nature's might. These narratives of heart-wrenching grief as well as stoic strength make us ask hard questions. How can we bestow rejoinders to these fires and come out on the other end protected? Considering the magnitude of the destruction, one thing still remains. The time to act is now. It's a dire moment and essence, whether it is in the form of aiding the victims, protecting the environment, or actively fighting climate change. In unison, we must all ensure that these heartbreaking accounts remain the impetus for transformation. They should serve to help those who have suffered and continue to suffer the most, envisioning a kinder tomorrow that offers solace and compassion.